Welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to the show. It is your boy Rico No Suave. Let me say it again for you. Rico No Suave. Welcome to the show, everybody. It's so great to actually have you all here as far as with me again. You already know. Woo-wee! Man, I am super happy to be back with everyone. Man, I tell you, when I say I'm happy to be back, Wednesday just doesn't come back it just comes back so fast, man, so fast. And, welcome everybody to the show. And I'm super happy to have you guys here together with me. If you're just watching the TV, hello. If you're actually going to be in the comments, let's go. Make sure you continue to participate. We got a fun-filled show for you guys today, a nice one for today. But you know what's also nice? Para mi Latinos, it is Latino Heritage Month, everybody. Latino Heritage Month, yes. Todos somos uno. We are one. Hey, you know what? There's so many things to learn about the heritage culture for Latinos, from wherever you're from, wherever bandera that you actually represent. Make sure, and if you're outside of the heritage, you need to understand what the heritage is for Latinos as well, too, so you will be able to understand what the culture is all about. When we talk about the heritage, we talk about the roots. We also talk about the food, la comida. We talk about as far as why is there such great hospitality in the Latino community and how they all stick together and how do they actually help America as well too. So you definitely want to get involved for the next month. Hey, it's from September 15th to October 15th. Hey, go out there and dance salsa. If you like to dance salsa, get out there and get your salsa on as well too. Salsa, merengue, bachata, all that great stuff. And eat as well. Now remember, it's not only just tacos, because some of you guys, when you think about Latino Heritage Month, you say, I'm going to give me some tacos and burritos. No, it's not all about that. That's for my people from Mexico. But there's other places, Colombia, Peru, Puerto Rico, Cuba, there's Bolivia, there's España, there's so many other, Venezuela, got to talk about them. Yeah, Venezuela, and so many other countries for you to be able to get involved in as far as for Latino Heritage Month, everybody. So I'm super happy to be able to make sure we represent here on the Rico No Suave show. All right, everybody, it's time to introduce. I whistle. I whistle. When I whistle, I whistle sometimes something Dixie. And when it's time for me to whistle, I might whistle a little tune. I might even whistle. Sometimes like back in the day, you might whistle down the street to call your friends over. Say, hey, I'm here. And do all of that. But I'm not professional at it. And I'm so happy to have this beautiful lady here with us when we talk about whistling. Didn't know that there was a community for it. We hear it in movies, right? We hear it all over. And then you be like, man, you might hear somebody whistling. Oh, man, that person is really good with whistling a tune. But this young lady, I had a chance to meet her. Big shout out to Priscilla Leona for introducing me. Hey, everybody, I want you guys to stand up if you know how to whistle. If you don't, it's okay, but show us some love. It's my girl, Carole and Kaufman. Let's go. Yeah. Carole. Yeah, that's okay. We're going to get you. Are you there, love?
I am here.
Let's go.
Absolutely.
Let's go.
Yes.
Hey, what'd you think about my intro? Did I do you some justice?
Amazing. Thank you. And I have to start by saying I'm so grateful for all the people that cannot whistle. It makes me look that much more talented.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Hey, for you, I have to say, you're actually the whistling diva is, of course, that's basically surrounding your aura, right? I know you're a master and professional at whistling, but I'm so ready to dig deep into, the whole professionalism. How did you get there? But before we do that, do you have any shout outs that you want to give out to anyone out there?
Well, I want to jump on the bandwagon and say thank you and hello to Priscilla Leona as well. Thank you, Priscilla, for introducing me to Rico and
Yes.
all the things that you do. I want to say hi to my mom, Bonnie Kaufman, Whistler's mother. We cannot
Let's
go
go.
without mentioning her.
Does your mom whistle too?
No, my dad is the one that taught me how to whistle, actually.
Okay, okay, all right. Well, let's get into it. Because there's things of where we start. In regards to how we got here and how you got here as well. So let's talk about this. When you hear someone whistle, it's either someone trying to get someone's attention, like me, in society. Someone is happy walking down the street whistling a tune, right? Why did you decide to take whistling to another level?
Well, I have been a performer my whole life, and so I'm kind of an extremist with a lot of things. So I think whistling just went into that crew along with all the other things that I love to do. So when I do it, I'm just going for it full capacity. So I found out about the World Whistlers competition. It was called the International Whistlers Convention in North Carolina. I was 28 years old and I went off to compete and I won second place. And that's when I got the bug and thought, all right, I think this is my sport. I'm going to stick with it. And then I continued to compete for quite a few years. And on the fourth year, we went and did the competition in Japan. And that's where I won the world championship. And my life has never been the same since.
Oh, wait. Oh, wow. 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 And I think, sometimes I get so excited. I do jump the gun and want to fast forward to where you're at right now. And, being able to take that to another level, let's dig a little deeper into kind of what your father had to teach you in regards to how to whistle. There's a form, there's a development when it comes to whistling. Let's get a little deep into when you were actually started to whistle as far as the entertainment piece. What was that development like? How old were you when you started the development of whistling?
Well, I started whistling when I was 5 years old, just like how people learn to whistle from a family member or somebody that's close in their life. So that part of the story is pretty similar. Although because of my theater training and all of the artistry that I've been involved with in my life, I was able to kind of take the whistling world and allow it to expand. As a kid, I took violin lessons, I did some singing, and all of that really plays into musicianship, which of course whistling is all about music. At least
Yeah.
musical whistling is. That's the world that I participate in. And so, whenever people ask me about whistling advice, getting a coach is probably the first thing that I mention because there's almost nothing we can do in this world by ourselves that we can't do better in partnership. So that's been something that has elevated my art form so much. And then, of course, after competing for many years, the competition in North Carolina dissolved, and I saw a void here in Los Angeles. And that's when I created the Masters of Musical Whistling International Festival and Competition so that other people, besides myself, could have an opportunity to compete and meet
Yeah.
their fellow whistlers and just be a part of that community that you talked about.
That's awesome. When you were 5 and you started whistling, because that's a young age for someone to actually start whistling, because there must have been some energy behind that when it comes to at 5 years old, because being that young and knowing that and how bubbly you are now, right? And of course, I'm sure that just took it through the whole family, as far as the bloodline of being energetic to being happy. Because whistling is all about being happy. That's what I feel every time I hear somebody whistle. I feel like, man, they're having a great day. But also when you're actually at that age and developing, how was it through, your younger years from 5 to like until you started getting into teenage years and then through, legal age after 18 years of age. So what was that transition like when it came to you doing were you doing talent shows?
You know, whistling when I was younger was really just for myself and maybe for my dad, right? He and I would whistle together, and it was a very amateur, sort of self-fulfilling experience. As I continued to perform, I think that helped me to be very bold in my whistling. So I never held back. I was always trying to be as loud and clear as I possibly could. So that is actually what I'm known for now, having a lot of clarity, having a lot of, ability to be heard across the street.
Yeah.
And, it's kind of fun because with whistling, I never knew that I was practicing. And when I was doing
Mm,
my violin training, I definitely knew I was practicing and I avoided like that. Whereas whistling didn't have any pressure. It didn't have any sense of rigor or anything I wanted to avoid like practice. So I would just whistle constantly, having a wonderful time. And then over the years, it's like anything, you just
yeah.
kind of evolve and gain expertise. And sometimes you don't even realize you've done it.
Wow. Wow. you know, there's things that I do that's a habit. And, sometimes I might just do it not even knowing I'm all of a sudden starting to be perfect at something. and whistling is not one of them, of course. But when I do hear what you're talking about, that also helps with the career of other people that might show their talent, that they just might do it just to be doing it. And they become great at it. And I feel that listening to what you're saying, that's how you just became great at it because it became natural to you because you just did it as well too, and of course, influence from your papa. It's an awesome thing. I got another question for you because when I think about whistling, and being able to train yourself for certain tunes. It's almost like a piano. You got to know how to play a piano, or you have a trumpet, right? And you have to be able to play a trumpet. Your sound that comes out as a whistle is an instrument, of course, as well. How often would you say during your time of developing, how often did you feel like you were just practicing just in general, not even knowing if you really wanted to practice? How would you feel like how many hours or what was that like?
I think, you talked about whistling being something that is an expression of happiness, and
Yes.
there's definitely truth to that. And I've also noticed that whistling is something that I use when I'm not feeling happy, right? There's nothing like music to elevate our mood. And when you're actually performing the music. So, for example, with whistling, it's all breath oriented.
Mm,
And so I would find myself whistling when I wanted to elevate my mood, or I would whistle when I was in a good mood. And then the
mm.
more that I started performing professionally, the more that, of course, that I would have to rehearse. Now, I have
Yeah.
a sort of strange rehearsal technique, which is I do almost all of my rehearsing in my car. And
Okay.
so you'll find it's like I guess I like to multitask, so I don't feel
yes.
comfortable
Yes.
just sitting at home, sitting on my couch practicing a song. It takes me back to all that violin practice. So before a competition or before a big performance, I will often take a road trip, right? I'll actually put something in my schedule, head on out, and just dig into the song. So obviously, over the
Mm,
years, there's hundreds and thousands of hours of practicing. Sometimes you're practicing, sometimes you don't.
mm.
And then, of course, there's a lot of times where people want me to just perform in front of them, right? That's the best kind
Oh
of practice.
wow.
And that's also what I recommend for my whistlers that are coming to compete for the first time,
Yeah.
to perform in front of your friends, because that's the people that make us the most nervous, right? And being right there
Yeah.
face to face with people where you're a little bit exposed, you're vulnerable, and of course you want to make a good showing. These are your friends, these are the people that are going to go forward and tell other people about musical whistling,
Yeah.
and raise the awareness for this art form, which is sort of my side gig, is trying to be a whistling activist of all things. I didn't know my
Interesting.
career and my life would take me that way, but suffice it to say that practice is just constant, right? When I'm often whistling, and I don't always think of it as practice, but I know that all of it is strengthening my armature. It's helping me to create more fluidity with my breath. All of the different techniques that you need in order to be an excellent whistler, or really be an excellent wind instrumentalist. Right? That's kind of the category that we fall into.
I like that. Oh man, I like that. I think that is awesome. I think just by knowing how you developed yourself and also and it's like practicing for anything, right? It's practicing for like any instrument, but at the same time too, developing to be a whistler. There is, and I'm gonna send this to you, but there's a guy from Peru, and he's a whistler as well too, but he's called El Canario, the canary, and
Hmm.
he sounds just like a bird, but he's so good. And I'll send that to you because it just popped in my head in regards to saying, "Oh my God," I'm figuring like of the years that he did that as well too, the professional development of using that as an instrument. Now he's actually a singer, but he actually uses that to go along as far as with the music that's being played and in the back end as far as with the band. So I look up now. I'm looking up to you guys in regards to whistling. So anytime I hear somebody whistling and it doesn't sound Dixie enough, I'll be like, no, no, that's something wrong there. I know a person that can really do it well. so I'm super happy. I am super happy to be able to hear this. And yeah, congratulations on your development. Now, when we talk about the development, you got to a certain stage of where you become a professional. When you become that professional transition piece, do you feel is it by years of whistling, or is it by level of how much you have done as a whistler to become a professional?
It's a great question, and I think probably both apply to a certain degree, right? So
Sure.
most of us are not going to master an instrument until some years have passed. So
Okay.
obviously, to get to a professional level is generally going to involve years of training. Of course, there are some phenomenal people there that seem to learn things overnight. We're not going to talk about them right now. We're going to talk about normal people like me and you who have to practice in order to create mastery. This also has a correlation with my whistling competition, because when we are judging the whistlers, we are judging on professionalism, right? It's whether or not they're a professional and already getting paid for their art form is another story altogether. But
Right.
we want to focus in on people that are at a world class level. That's what it comes to mind when we talk about professionalism, when we talk about performance, when I think about the world champions that we are naming, and when I think about what I am feeling compelled to produce for my audiences is something that is at a world class level, that any musician in any country at any level, even the highest levels of musicianship, can look at this performer and hear their music and say, that's phenomenal. That's amazing, right? And people always want to know, oh, what makes an excellent whistler? Well, what makes an excellent whistler is the same thing that makes an excellent musician. Did you pick a beautiful song? Are you able to execute it in a way that sounds beautiful? Are you
Yeah.
possibly making me weep? Are you making me feel something? Am I feeling the tonality in the proper way? Am I hearing the notes the way they should be executed? Right? It's all about being in tune. It's all about artistic expression and creating something beautiful, just as you would want in a flute competition, right? Or a trumpet
Right.
or any other instrument. There's so much fun in whistling because people don't expect world class music to come out of this. And so the element of surprise is probably one of my favorite aspects to being a professional whistler. When I get introduced, Carole Kaufman's whistle is soon, you can kind of see the eyes roll in the audience. You see people like get ready to go to the bathroom, they want to walk out the door. And then within a few moments, there's just this hush that usually comes across the audience where people are fully captivated and kind of awestruck, right? Nobody expects whistling as a world-class instrument. So I
Right.
have a wonderful time both performing and also creating new champions that go out in the world and inspire people to see what's possible with music.
That is awesome, man. That is awesome. I think a lot of it, as far as with motivation, and we talked about, we talked about the expression. The expression piece comes into play of how you actually are whistling in front of people because your connection is if they see something different, you tend to be creative or continue to grow with that. I do have a question for you when it comes to you performing in front of like people that you know versus to people that you do not know. Have you ever did kind of like how can I say it? Whistle in front of an audience that you did not know on the street, and then all of a sudden people started surrounding. You know how people performers actually do like performances on the street, and then people would just gather up and listen to you play or anything like that. Have you done something like that?
Absolutely. I mean, so people pimp me out all the time, right? My friends are constantly, oh, here, hey, Carole, she's the world champion whistler, right? Maybe I told a guy the other day in a coffee shop, like, wow, you're a good whistler. He was like, oh, thank you. He kind of rolled his eyes. Didn't quite understand the compliment. And then my girlfriend comes up and she's like, oh, she's a world champion. This is a real compliment. It's like, okay, come on, like, I'm all down. Come on, no pictures, please. But so it'll happen. Like if I'm at parties, right? I'll have a friend that wants to introduce me, and of course they want to add that really interesting information that I'm a world champion whistler.
Yeah.
And then of course the inevitable thing happens next, which is, can we hear you? Can you whistle for us? And so absolutely, I'll start whistling a song, and next thing you know, you've got some people on the periphery, and other people are kind of gravitating in towards the music, and that is really fun, and it's really exciting to blow people's minds. Now, I should mention, since I'm talking about whistling at parties,
Yes.
just as you were saying, the arc of our own personal evolution. So when I first became a champion, I was still a little bit shy. I then found myself being requested to whistle on command, right? If you introduce yourself as a world champion whistler, people don't know what you're talking about and they want to hear it. And so over the years, I've gotten a lot more comfortable with whistling in front of people, like on a dime, right? Just on the street corner or at a party or wherever it may be. And I've also come to realize that it's part of my job as a professional whistler and a whistling activist who wants to grow this art form and the understanding of what's going on, that I have this sense of obligation that I should whistle for people when I meet them. Otherwise, they may not ever have a chance to hear professional whistling. Now,
Right.
along with that little tidbit, I decided after I became the whistling diva, and of course I named myself, and everyone tells me I've named myself appropriate because yes, I am in fact a diva who makes a lot of demands and all kinds of things, including if you want me to whistle at a party, I will be more than happy. After you turn off your sound system, after you create the silence that you honor the music with, right? You would never ask an opera singer to come and do a demonstration while there's just a bunch of, talking going on.
Right.
So we're going to honor the art form, honor the artist, which is just something I absolutely love to do for people in general, is to give the space for people to really expose their art and to share it with us. So that is a real delight. And of course, it is a super diva move. Turn off your music and then I'll perform.
Right. People always want to have some background music when you're trying to perform. That's what happens. And hey, so have you ever did like if you did like something out like in the open, have you ever like put a tip basket down and say, hey, if you really like my whistling, whistle a Dixie dollar. Have you ever did that?
I have not done any busking, although I'll happily take anybody's dollars for any service that I provide. But no, I haven't done any busking, but that
That's
hasn't
good.
stopped me from jumping in. If somebody else is busking or somebody else is performing at a venue, I'll
Yeah.
ask them, hey, can I perform with you? Can I jump in with you? And so I definitely am not afraid to jump in, and I'm not above busking, and I think it's it's a wonderful self-expression as well.
Yeah.
But for me, I can't stand having to take my equipment. I just want to get up on stage and, really be able to perform in a professional environment. That's very important for me. It's a great word that you brought up uh, because we are in the game of showing people that whistling is a world-class instrument, and it's been kind of left on the cutting room floor, right? Everybody whistles, or everybody has at least tried to whistle, right? If you can't whistle, you want to whistle. It is something that is truly common in our world. It's universal across the world. And I know this because I wrote my master's thesis about musical whistling, the rhetoric, the sexism, and the superstitions involved with whistling. And so because there is so much conversation, albeit subtle at this time in our culture, throughout the ages, there's been old wives' tales and different things that say, hey, people are not supposed to whistle, and especially women are not supposed to whistle. Apparently, if you have a vagina, it's really bad
Wow.
for whistling. I don't know what that is. But actually, body parts don't hurt you at all. All of your whistling comes up here. Both men and women are able to whistle. And so that's a big reason why I find it important to express my whistling, and the people that I coach and that I work with,
Yeah.
I'm always recommending that they perform in the most professional environment possible, because people already know whistling
Yeah.
as a casual instrument that is not professional. So the symbolism of seeing somebody whistle in a professional environment is very important for the perpetuation of the forward motion of our art form.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. Before we take a break, which we will take a break, and I really don't want to take a break because the whistling has me mesmerized. And of course, it's just knowing that what you do as an instrument. And I was going to ask about, was the whistling piece is a male dominant type entertainment thing, but I really don't see it that way, the way that you're talking about it, because anybody should be able to whistle and come out and not feel like it's a male dominant aspect of things. But you kind of cleared that up for me in regards to that. So,
Well, let me actually just clarify based
sure.
on the work from my thesis. One of the reasons that I created this thesis, I wanted to find out why were there so few women whistlers compared to men. And the fact of the matter is that throughout the ages, women have been forbidden from whistling. I mean, obviously, you know that there's no woman in the 1800s can do an activity that involves looking like you're kissing,
Yeah.
right? This is
Right.
very X-rated, very not okay. So all
Mm,
these forms of self-expression, there's really not an area that I have found that sexism hasn't permeated, and whistling is no exception. Now, these days, we're lucky because we've done a lot of work to help to even up the gender divide, and we're finding that we're getting close. There are almost as many women whistlers as men, but still, you had the red carpet for men to whistle,
yeah.
and women were forbidden from whistling. So
Mm.
we're squaring that up now.
That's good. That's good. I'm happy about that. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. All right, everybody. You already know we have the whistling diva, Carole and Kaufman, here with us. We're gonna take a quick commercial break, everybody, at least 30 seconds. We'll be back to talk a little bit more in regards to her journey. We'll be back in 30 seconds. All right, everybody, we are back, and welcome back to the Rico No Suave show. Yes, you already know, I got my girl Carole and Kaufman. Yes, are you having a good time, Carole?
A wonderful time. Thank you so much for having me on here. I mean, this has just been such a treat, and I'm so excited to be able to share this information with all of your fans.
Thank you so much. Let's talk about the performing piece because time fly by fast. Time fly by fast. Now I'm whistling with my stutter. Time fly by fast when we're having whistling fun from a professional. You are part of a group, and I know that you also do some things as far as in solo. Which one do you do more of? Are you performing in a group, or you do more stuff as far as solo?
I am primarily a solo artist. I have a whistling art group that I'm a part of with the artist Susan Silton, who's a world-renowned artist, and I am the whistler in that group. But that is few and far between as far as performances. I love to perform, and over the years, I have definitely included more and more professional whistlers in my performances. So now, as I've been able to perform on many stages around the world, what interests me is sharing the stage. So there are a lot of incredible whistlers and world champions that I have had the honor of performing with, from Hirschatru to Akiko Shibata in Japan, and Kamiko Wakayama and I were just performing on NHK in Japan when I went for the World Whistlers Convention this summer. So I would say for the most part, I'm doing solo projects, and then chomping at the bit to perform with other people every time I get the chance. Now, when I perform at my World Whistlers Convention at the Masters of Musical Whistling, I often have the opportunity to perform with groups, and my judges are usually whistlers, and we have as much opportunity as I can create time for to get up there and perform. And of course, my nonprofit that I created, it's called Creative Being, and it's all about inspiring community and creativity through artistic self-expression. And one of the reasons that I really wanted to create a nonprofit was so that the message of the events that I produce can move beyond just whistling or just a music festival. I want that when people leave our events, that they feel inspired to discover their own art form. And that's what our nonprofit is about. It's about not just about me finding my joy on stage, and hopefully you really enjoying that performance, but that performance inspires you to think, what do I want to do? What do I want to give to my community? How do I want to perform, or do I want to create something artistic or something creative that I can share with others? And that is really where things took off for me, in finding my whistling community, and then of course becoming the producer of the championships of whistling. I've been watching my community grow, and I've been able to share the things that I love with others and be able to make a positive difference out there in our culture. And it's extremely, extremely gratifying.
That is awesome, man. That is so cool. Oh man, that is so cool. To be able to, switch from where you're saying as a solo artist, I get it. I see where that comes from. I mean, because your style, your energy, I don't know if anyone else matches that as far as within a group when it comes to actually whistling as well. But the accomplishments that you made on that is like super awesome. I love that. Love that piece. I did, want to freestyle off of a question for you because there is certain tunes from, I don't know if you do covers, but also being a creative whistler or being able to do as a solo artist, you always try to say, hey, I want to bring up my own whistling song, right? Have you ever, I can't even say right. Have you ever came up with your own beats? I should say, that's what I'm thinking. As like a whistling beats of yourself, to be able to show the audience.
So yes, I definitely have. So once
Okay.
upon a time, back in the day, I had a cable access show, and I worked with the musician, our house musician, and wrote a song, our opening song for our show. Last year, I was approached by a poet out of the East Coast who wanted to have a whistler doing background music for him. So that was an incredible experience. And of course, you can whistle over all kinds of beats, right? And
Yeah.
although I would say Improvisation is not my specialty. So you talked about covers. Yes, my favorite thing is to whistle my favorite songs or my audience's favorite songs. Like, for example, when I'm hired to do performances, I've been hired to do memorial services, right? Where the family sent me the songs that they wanted me to learn that were the heartfelt spiritual songs for the event, or, so I love recreating other people's music. And one of my personal artistic goals is to continue to get better at improvisation. Jazz improv is extremely popular in the whistling world, and it's
Wow.
something that I'm just slowly but surely eking my way up the steps and learning how to do it. I get so committed to learning the words and learning the cadence and learning all the nuances of how a song is written that I get a little bit locked in. So the reason that I want to underline that is, even when someone has gained level of mastery, there is always more to learn. There is no
Yeah.
professional, there is no artist out there who has reached their cap. There's always more ability, there's always more creativity, there's always more skill that can bring to the game. And that's what's so exciting about the world of artistry, is that it never ends, and it always offers us something new to explore. So even
Yeah.
though, on a bad day, I hate the fact that I'm not an amazing improviser, but on a good day, I can share with you that I really appreciate that there's a really like a fun, like, black hole for me to dive into and to learn how to excel. And there's nothing more gratifying, of course, than just learning something you have no clue about.
Yeah, I like that, man. I like that. I can do a whole special just with you on whistling, and how you actually, you know, grown into, being that professional whistler, but also continuing to grow and hit different milestones in regards to your craft, right? In regards to you basically being a musician, I would say through voice, but through whistle, right? That whistling that tune. So there are some comments that I do want to get, to you, so you can be able to see that as well. So hello, Beatrice Davis. She is saying, Beatrice Davis, she says, hello, Rico and this team. I'm so excited to watch the interview tonight. I am intrigued by Carole, and because I find whistling a unique talent and wish I could whistle like her. I'm like, ooh, wait. Yes, that was Beatrice Davis. Beatrice Davis.
Thank you, Beatrice.
And she says you also are beautiful. She's like, you go, girl.
Thank you.
That is awesome.
Sweet.
Yes, and John T for free. I see that you're watching as well too. Thank you so much, and yes, we'll try to resolve that situation. But Donna Marie Bird is checking in. Thank you so much. And she said John T can whistle as well too. All right, John. All right. I see we got somebody in the industry that can actually whistle as well. So Donna Marie Bird comes with a comment, says, Carole, you're too young. But have you heard of Roger Whittaker, the British singer and expert whistler who was famous for good reason, big in the 60s and the 70s?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Roger Whittaker is somebody that is talked a lot about in our community, and very much revered, an incredible artist, and there are those whistlers throughout our history. There's very few, and
Yeah.
he is one of them, who have paved the way for people to understand the musicianship of whistling. Unfortunately, there haven't been enough people like Roger Whittaker out there to really expose everyone, but we're so grateful for him, and so many other whistlers throughout the last probably 100 years or so that have helped to progress our art form quite a bit.
Nice. That is awesome. Well, you always have like the role models, for, every different types of instrument if someone wants to play an instrument, or, just role models in general to be able to help, build your career in regards to that. So we do have two other people that actually joined us, and brother Benji say, hey, Carole, proud of you, Queen. Keep it going.
Thank you, Benji. Great to hear from you, as always. How sweet. I know exactly who that is. The
And then
artist as well.
Emily checks in, says, hi, Carole. It's Emily and Lisa. Hello, thank you.
Awesome. Aw, how great. Well, very apropos, Lisa is the secretary of our nonprofit, and it's it is so gratifying to have the opportunity to create an organization that brings in the community to create things for the community. And it's just been a joy actually to work with Lisa, because she has such a passion for the arts and has a true understanding of how we as human beings are able to enjoy our life so much more when we have found our art form and we express that. And then the next level, of course, is to share that with others. And I also want to say, though, that, sometimes it sounds a little dramatic, like we found our art form. I have not found my art form. I have found an art form that I love amongst many, many other art forms that I love to indulge in. There is no restrictions. There is no cap on art and creative expression. And as a matter of fact, I say, if it comes from the heart, it's art. And that's
right.
my way of trying to say, whatever it is that you love to do, do it. And you're going to find a space where you can share it and make a difference in the world with it. And, whether you create art and it's beautiful, or you create art and it's not that beautiful, it really doesn't matter, because it's your self-expression. And
Yes.
you're right to be able
Yes.
to express yourself. And so that is just absolutely what I'm passionate about. And of course, for me, it comes out as whistling and writing, and and helping to promote other people's artistry. But really, it's just about honoring thyself. That's really what we're here to talk about.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And the nonprofit organization. What's the name of the organization?
So we are creative because, of course, all of us are creative beings, and it's
Creative Beings.
about
Okay,
inspiring community and creativity through artistic self-expression. So,
that's dope.
whether it be my Masters of Musical competition or our event that we just produced, the Monrovia Music Fest, where we bring out, vendors and artisans and music and all of these things. And it's this incredible music festival, but really there's this undercurrent that everything we do, we're asking, what's your art form? What do you want to do? Right?
Yeah.
So even though it might look like a passive experience, we're crafting it such that people are moved and inspired to see what's available for them, right? It's not about just watching. It is about really looking within yourself and resonating with whatever it is that touches you, and allowing yourself to just express that and share it.
That is awesome. Man, that's beautiful. We need more
Beautiful.
people like you. We need people like you. We need people like your organization, because there's a lot of creative minds that's out there. And it's so crazy. I was just talking to someone in regards to this, where, there's so many creative minds that we need more people like organizations to be able to bring that craft, to be able to bring that creativity out with the youth, the older, it doesn't matter. Bring it,
Yeah.
and let's make it happen. Carol, I'm having a great time. It's always fun to actually have you here on the show, but just knowing that you're here and just blessing us with some really great things to be educated on, I'm super happy to have you here. But we got to take another break, because, it's something called NASCAR Moments. Stay tuned. It's NASCAR Moments, everybody. You already know. It is me. Ooh wee. It's about that room, room. Let's go. But sometimes NASCAR Moments is about buying clothes. And if you like buying clothes, we got something for you for NASCAR Moments. This moment here will make you look like them, the race car drivers. That's right. You already know. There's a twill jackets, everybody. They're in style. The twill jackets are in style. You see Bass Pro and Napa. Make sure you go ahead and go to the store for NASCAR. Make sure you go ahead and get those twill jackets, because they're coming back in style, baby. They're in style. They were never out of style, but they just want to let you know that they're still in style. So make sure you grab you some jackets today. Make sure you go ahead and continue to support NASCAR. All right, everybody, that was NASCAR Moments. Let's get back to my girl, Carole and Kaufman. Still having fun?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, never in my wildest dreams when I was growing up did I think I was going to make it big as a whistler, right? That is
Oh,
not really like, that wasn't happening when I was younger. So it is just such an honor to be able to share my art form and hopefully to just talk a little bit about inspiring people and honoring whatever art form. I mean, really, if whistling is an art, whatever you do is an art too, right? I mean, just go for it and enjoy who you are.
I think the coolest thing about having an art form of whistling is being able to go and say, hey, can I freestyle with you while you're doing this cover? I want to come in and whistle a tune as far as with you. And it brings such a unique experience for the audience or just for the band as well too, or the person, right? Whoever's actually playing as an artist, because musicians, we come together in different forms when it comes to either singing, playing an instrument, and then also with the whistling piece. It's such a great, or even whatever, a different type of instrument that you never heard of before. I think by you having that unique, craft and being professional at it, it's such a great thing to be able to have that. I think, like I said, I was talking about El Canario. Whenever he whistles, it's unique because not everybody's used to that, but they know they want to listen to it when it comes. And I think the same way for you as well too. So I'm gonna put you on the spot. Can I do that now? We talk about freestyling. You ready? Ready for this?
What are you going to ask me?
The audience wants to know, and even my producers in the background, because we work as a team, we want to know if you can actually whistle us a nice little tune, because we want to see what Carole is all about. Can you do that now? Is it
Oh,
possible?
well, I mean, that would be pretty embarrassing if I didn't do it. So I think I have to go for it. Absolutely. I was
No,
wondering
because
if you were going to
if
ask me. We didn't discuss that. So let's see well, let's a little bit of summertime since we're just in the last few days of summertime.
let's go. Let's go.
Excuse me. Let me get a quick sip of water.
Go right ahead, love.
I have to have
It's
all of my tools ready.
let's go.
All right, here we go.
Let's go. Wow. Wow. Oh,
Yeah.
wow. That is awesome. Oh man. I, you know, it-
World's most important instrument.
you know how you record me, and I'm gonna put that as an alarm. Even though if it's not sun shining outside, I know I got Carole singing me to wake me up. And when I tell you that is a beautiful tune. Oh my God. I mean, no
Yeah.
wonder people love you as a whistler, and that is amazing. That is amazing. I didn't know that whistling get that high like that. It's almost like a soprano, singing, but you hit that note. I'm like, wow, wow. Congratulations, man.
Thank
Congratulations.
you. Thank you. It's amazing what you can do without even trying, right? I
Right?
didn't even know I was practicing. And I have to tell you a little story, Rico, that has just
Talk
been
to
so
me.
exciting in the world of our nonprofit and the Masters of Musical Whistling. During 2020, when everything was really quiet, I got a call from a production company, a documentary production company in Australia, Finch No Worries, and they said, "Hey, we're thinking about doing a documentary about whistling." Well, of course, I've received many calls from people that were thinking about doing documentaries about whistling, and nothing had happened except that Finch, in fact, did come out to the Masters of Musical Whistling in 2023, and they had a 12 camera shoot. And so I'm very excited to report that there is going to be a documentary about the Masters of Musical Whistling and the whistlers involved coming out next year in 2025. So that is got to be
Wow.
just about the most exciting thing that we could even imagine happening for us, for our nonprofit, and of course for whistling.
Yes. Yes. Let's go.
Yeah,
Let's
so
go.
excited.
Oh man. Ooh, wait. I am that yeah. Yeah. That is awesome. That's awesome. And like I said, I have so many things in my head when it comes to the tunes that you guys put together and also as a group. I do want to touch on, I know the nonprofit organization, but also the Masters of Whistling. So, because you guys have a community of whistlers in this industry, when you guys do you guys have conferences that you all come together? And if you do, what is that all about?
So the Masters of Musical Whistling International Festival and Competition is our conference, right?
Okay.
So
Okay.
here in Los Angeles, I am doing the Masters of Whistling, and in Los Angeles they have the World Whistlers Convention, and then there's also an online competition that's put on by the International Whistlers Guild. But my event and the event in LA, excuse me, in Japan are the two events where people come together. So
Okay.
we have so much going on. So whistlers from around the world come to Hollywood to meet and compete. And I have three levels that I've created. So that way, whistlers from the beginner whistlers, the most amateur level whistlers, to our world class whistlers have a space to be together. I have found that people are really, really excited about our level 3 world class elite division because we actually have a live band division, and I bring in a live band with our musical director AJ Satsangi, and he has an entire band that comes in, and sometimes whistlers who have never even performed on stage, but they're phenomenal whistlers,
Yeah.
actually get to perform, on a stage with a band. And it was when I first got my championship uh, you know um, trophy, and I started booking gigs with live bands, and I realized I didn't know how to do that. I
Yeah.
was, I didn't know how to communicate what key was I whistling in and how to talk to the band. And so
Yeah.
in order to elevate ourselves as a world-class instrument, you have to be in world-class experiences with musicians that are on that level. And
Yeah.
so we love the fact that we're able to offer that and prepare that. But most importantly, probably is the fact that this community comes together. We've got people from all over the world, from Spain to China. We had a kids division this year, and a child came for a 2-day trip to China. She just came, she competed, and then she went back home with a trophy. Uh, you know,
Wow.
people
Wow.
from all over I know it was mind blowing. It was mind blowing, and believe me, Rico, when I say the trust that people are putting in me, that they're coming to this event that I created, that of course our nonprofit is now putting on, but that people would fly all around the world to come to be together in an environment that we create for them is an absolutely huge honor. And so this is a gift that we give to our whistling community, and we
Yeah.
like to think that we're giving it to the world at large, because
Yes.
any win for whistling is a win for art, and
That's
anything that
right.
we could do to to loosen people up to enjoy what they do. That's one of the things, we are hopefully always promoting children to find their artistry. That's
Yes.
probably one of the
Yes.
best parts of my childhood, was that my family was very encouraging, and I have probably unfair advantage when it comes to like failing in public. I don't mind. I
Right.
am okay with that because that's art. Art is a
Right.
flowing process. But you and I are lucky to be thriving in our art, but not
Yes.
everyone realizes that they can bring what they care about to the people, and that adults, in fact, who may be a little bit shy, that piece by piece we can kind of encourage them to let their feathers kind of show and share with others.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth because, being able to have the youth to be able to shine and be able to find their craft. I was basically going to say kind of that statement because you're actually bringing out from kids that may not know what they really want to do, but they might find their talent through this as well too, but be inspired to be able to find something that they really like. And I think that's what you're doing. Your nonprofit organization is really helping kids really build as well. I do have one more question because Donna Marie Bird, and I know we're almost out of time. So if singing, if with singing, can she sing that high? Can whistlers sing the same tune as they whistle? That was a really great question.
It's a great question. So when you're whistling, you're using, of course, everything from the neck up, just as you do when you're a singer. Of course, your diaphragm, all of your air is coming from down here. But the way that you're producing music is very distinct from how we sing. So our singing engages the vocal cords, right? You've got all this resonance, and that's why, singing happens. That's how it happens, is through our vocal cords. With whistling, that is going to be really without a lot of resonance, right?
Yeah.
The pure tones of whistling. Whistling is really air over surface, right? That's what causes whistling. And as a matter of fact, our mouth can whistle, even accidentally, right? Babies are known to whistle, right? You
Yeah.
breathe and you pucker, there could be some whistling coming out. So no, I absolutely cannot sing that high. As a matter of fact, I am a soprano whistler and I am an alto singer. And it
All
is,
right.
right. And maybe it's a coincidence that I can sing, right? My musical training when I was a child is definitely helpful, but there's not really a direct correlation between I'm a phenomenal whistler and I'm a phenomenal singer. Although both involve our airflow and our face, they are two different techniques that do not necessarily cross over. I can't even pretend to whistle to sing that high. It would be very painful for all people involved, I'm sure.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Brother Benji, thank you so much. Don, I hope that answers your question. Brother Benji says, so good to see you live. Carole, and I'm about to leave for work. Hope to contact you soon. Respect Rico for having a true pioneer queen in her zone. Blessing y'all. Thank you so much, Brother Benji. We really appreciate that. And thank you so much for the kind words. And also, I have something for you. Boom. This is for you. I have something
For
for
me?
you. That's for you. Man,
Hey,
I tell you,
yes.
it's not just because you're a great entertainer. It's because you know how to whistle. And you showed us exactly how you love to whistle and your craft and people that love to be able to hear you. This shirt right here represents your talent, but also it shows us this gift to you in regards to how much you are a gem to the world. When I tell you you're a gem of the world, you're very unique in a way of being able to come within a band or come within another singer and being able to freestyle or play with that person as far as with a whistle. And I have to say, man, what you showed me tonight, just a little bit of what you did for that summertime was amazing. We appreciate a lot of the gems, but definitely we appreciate you. And this is why we're going to present you with the Rico No Suave Show shirt. Thank you.
I love it. Thank you so much. And thank you. Oh, my goodness. And thank you for the honor that you are giving our art form. It is
Yes.
such a pleasure to be here with you, and your
Yes.
exuberance and your respect for what it is that we're creating. It's really heartwarming, and it's exciting to be able to share this message with others. And obviously we both share the same passion to open up the creativity inside of every individual, because we know, both you and
Yes.
I know, some of us can't say no to ourselves. We're compelled to create,
That's
and
right.
then we know that it's in everybody. And so it's awesome to be your partner in helping each person shine.
Right. Carole, we got to show your social media, but I know we have to let you go, and I really don't want to let you go. But I know we have to have everybody find you because they need to support your talent. So here's the first one, everybody. Masters of Whistling. Make sure you please go to Instagram. Make sure you go to Instagram. Make sure you go and find everything about them. Make sure you follow them, show your love, show your support. Here's the next one. Oh yeah, YouTube. You gotta find. Hey, if you're gonna watch YouTube, you gotta watch Masters of Whistling. You'll be able to go there and actually watch all of the videos. Make sure you click on the subscribe. Make sure you get the notifications whenever they upload something great. And of course, we got two websites. We got the Whistling Diva, because that's her, right? That's Carole. The Whistling Diva, everybody. Make sure you go ahead and go to whistlingdiva.com. Make sure you follow her, show that love. And then we do have another one, which is also another website, which is mastersofwhistling.com. Please make sure you go ahead and support very awesome websites in general. So make sure you go ahead and show your love. Carole, we got to get out of here. But I tell you, time flies by fast when you're having whistling fun. And it was such a great time having you on my show today. And we here appreciate everything that you have done. And we want to help you continue your journey by making sure people actually follow you and continue success.
Rico, thank you so much. This has been such a treat. Thank you for all that you do and all the support that you give to all artists in our community. It's really phenomenal.
Awesome. Everybody put your hands together for none other than my girl, Carole Ann Kaufman. Let's go.
All right.
Take care, my love. I will talk to you soon.
See you
Have
soon.
a good one. Ciao. Everybody, before we get out of here, I got to talk a little bit about one thing that's been hitting the scenes on E! Hollywood, and everybody and their grandmama know about this one. So I just want to say a few things in regards to Puff Daddy. P. Diddy, of course, you already know, has been a big icon in the music industry, and have made you dance and made you do the Harlem Shake, and made you do all different types of things when it comes to dancing. The one thing that I'm so disappointed about was because, this whole thing between Biggie and Tupac, as far as the war and how they had both passed away. But also the one thing that I'm very, very disappointed in is that to be able to have that talent, to be able to have an intellect, to be able to know how to be able to use certain musicians to be able to get where you need to be able to get to, but be able to put them in a light, right? And one thing that I will tell you about is, he's a master in regards to being able to remix beats and being able to put the person in front of the beat to be able to rap and be able to build this empire. But there's also the management behind it in regards to what Puff Daddy has done to these artists in regards to where there's greed that I wasn't really aware of until it was brought to my attention. That, of course, there's greed that's involved. And whatever happened to Biggie, of course, rest in peace. And whatever happened to Tupac, rest in peace. But there was envy going on there. The one thing I'm very disappointed I would tell you about is you have all that money. You have billions of dollars. You get arrested. You get indicted for sex trafficking. You get racketeering. And then you put your hand on a woman is a no-no. You know that. And there's prostitution that's involved. With all of that money, what makes someone go that route of thinking there's a level of respect that you will actually get? My mom always told me, you always know the difference between right and wrong. I've always thought that Puff Daddy was the right person to do the job when it came to us dancing and having a great time. But we never know what's going on in the back end in regards to that organization or whatever his organization's actually doing, Bad Boy Entertainment, where you have an image to be able to portray. And a lot of people looked up to Puff Daddy. But what comes around goes around when it comes to you doing evil. And now they're looking as far as having an indictment in regards to Puff Daddy. Life sentence? We don't know. What may happen to him if he did go to jail? Is he going to be? He's not going to be respected, and he has to watch out for himself. So I want to say here on the Rico No Suave show is I feel bad for people like this. And we talk about this mental health. We talk about this as an awareness that people get to a certain level that they don't know how to control themselves and they want more. They want to be greedy. So I want to say, Puff Daddy, if you got things that's coming to you that you have done, I can't even say I feel sorry for you, because if you should know that coming from a family of knowing between good and evil, this is bad. So I just want you guys to know exactly how I felt about this, because this was brought to my attention. And I felt that I had to really talk about this as a talk show host, because it really hurts. It's disappointing as a person that listened to the music, because now I know it's all about the Benjamins, right? And that's a shame. So everyone, I'm going to leave it off on that note. Let me know what you guys think. If you're talking to the TV, I'll try to listen to you. But if you're in the comments, let me know exactly what you guys feel in regards to the situation as well, too. But everybody, we got to get out of here. We want to thank you guys so much. We're winning a little bit over time, but thank you guys so much for being here on the Rico No Suave show. And we'll see you next time as we end off the show just like this.